Alright, no intro on this one. What I've got is I did the LED upgrade to the main headlight beam. What are they, 6000K and then 6000K in the running lights. I've been kind of messing with it over the last few days. The 06 through 09 has a system check, so you need a resistor for the headlights. I have a resistor for the blinkers because I've upgraded everything on this truck to LED, so I've got two sets of resistors. I have like a quick splice in there and it keeps coming loose, which when I turn the truck on, it'll do the system check. That bulb will blink, 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 and then turn off. Anyways, I'm gonna just pop the two bolts out right here. They're like Torx. I don't know if you can see that. Torx, two of those. And then you pull the little deal out of the cap there. 10 mil. Pop the headlight. So the running lights, they're like 9006. They were plug and play, twist on, fit perfect. The headlights were these Lucas lights. And we'll get to L2 LED H1 bulbs, because the H1 bulbs that came with this thing are, let's see if I can find them. This was the headlight previously. This little teeny light. You literally couldn't see a single thing at night. Got a little junkyard here, I save them. Yeah, these were, let's see what these were. Yeah, these were the original running lights. So I just got those in an LED. These were plug and play. Don't have an issue with them. The LEDs that I have in there have built-in little fan in them, but so the Lucas lights. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna solder them. I'm gonna disconnect all those probably off camera and then solder them on camera. Try to set my tripod up here so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So these are the Lucas lights. They're pretty much plug and play. I replaced my harness. This is not the factory plug. You can see, well, I'm not going to tear it all apart, but your factory colors are not going to be those. This is a 1, 2, 3, literally on your factory. It'll have numbers on the back, 1, 2, 3. The color coding on the wire doesn't matter. It's all wire underneath at the end of the day. Just make sure you match them up. So I had a little bit of a short in there. This was like, I don't know, I got it off eBay, I can't remember. So anyways, what I'm gonna do is this red goes to my little resistor that I have in here. Make sure you put that on metal. That gets hot, like 200 plus degrees, if you can see it. So trying to get my tripod to pick up everything I'm doing. So I'm gonna solder this connection. Right now it's just a, you'll see when I tear it apart. I'm gonna solder both of those. Before I get too far into that, I wanted to kind of explain how these worked, because at first I was confused. When I bought them, I tried to put them in. The orientation was off. Well, on these, the orientation doesn't matter. You can literally pull them out. It's got a little rubber grommet. So you can orientate this portion however you need to make it work. I did have to modify mine a hair. So here where my finger is, there's a little whirly, I don't know what you call it. They bend it over in like a circular fashion to give you something to put your finger on. I had to cut that because the way this needed to go in there, and it fits in factory for the most part. That little guide right there, the way that worked and the way I have to orientate the light, it just, there wasn't enough space. So no big deal. That just goes in like so, stays in there tight. And then I cut these little grooves because it used to have a cap that covered that. Well, I got to thinking about it, and these suckers get hot. These, you can hear these if the truck's not on and the headlights are on. You can hear the fan in these. These are Spider brand headlights. There's not, yeah, there it is. Sorry to change the subject again. had one of those, but I cut that off. So they're Spider brand headlights. Nothing fancy. They got not so bright halo rings in them, but it's more of a facelift for the truck. They're not like switchbacks, and I'm not really into that, the color change and all that stuff, but if you are, it's your stuff. You do you. So anyways, this resistor here, this is for my blinkers. These came with incandescent blinkers, and then I upgraded them to LED. Sorry, I'm trying to hold the camera and do all this. So I upgraded mine to LED bulbs. That's also going to give you an in-cabin if you don't have a resistor in line with that. So LED for the headlight, LEDs, parking light, halo rings are LED, and then I made this LED, it was incandescent stock. So then I put a little piece of vinyl wrap on the top just for good measures. So anyways, let's get back to soldering these together. So I pulled all the electric tape off and you can see the attachment deal or whatever the heck it's called that I used. So I'm just going to use a little baby screwdriver because these are handy, and then release this guy. This might not necessarily be the right size. What I had to do, you can kind of see that hopefully. What I had to do, because it wasn't making good connection, is I stripped some of that wire there and some of the wire on this side, and then obviously just matched them up and pinched them together. Well, getting a short somewhere. So I'm gonna solder these, and hopefully that's gonna fix the problem here. Got my solder gun heating up, and I'm just gonna take this razor blade and expose a little bit more of this wire, so that way I got a good surface to solder it all together. This is where you try to not slice the tip of your finger off. Done it a bunch of times. So just cut a little bit of that off, maybe, just to give you a little extra surface area. I'm not the best at soldering, but we'll figure it out. So obviously you have a positive and a negative. The positive on this from the Lucas light is blue, red to blue, black to, this is kind of a purple color, but it doesn't really matter in the end of the day. It's a resistor is a resistor here. Alright, well, you can see, hopefully you can see, I wrapped it around there, and I'm just going to solder that all together. I got it kind of bungeed over here, and then I got a towel underneath to make sure the face doesn't get all tore up and scratched up. So, it took me a minute to figure that thing out, but I got it. Big old ball of solder on there. That might be excessive, but I'm no professional by any means. So that one's down. I will put some electrical tape around that and we'll call it good. I wanted to kind of recap on this because not everybody's super explanatory when it comes to these videos. This is my factory plug, or it was until I put this one on because my other one shorted, but same thing. Comes out of the truck, it's factory. High beams, low beams. Upgraded my low beams to LED. So I have to splice this inline resistor, T50W6RJ. I have an inline resistor right here for my blinker. So it goes on one side, on the other side. So this is more of a permanent connection. This can be permanent, but it's temporary in my opinion. How to short, replace the factory plug. Match the wires, no big deal. Now it's blinking, so I know it's not getting any resistance because when I fire up my truck, the system check does not allow that. So I'm gonna prep this one up and then solder that, and then we should be good to go. So this conversion, just for the bulbs, these H1 bulbs, these LED, these Lucas bulbs, were about 180, 190 bucks, and that's just for 2. My high beams on this one are fine, so I'm gonna leave the incandescent bulbs, but you'd have to run another resistor if you wanted to do your high and your low beams. So I just did my low beams for now, and if I need to later, I'll do my high beams as well. But 180 for those, just the bulbs, and it was like 50 or something for the other 2 bulbs. So it's about 30 bucks for the resistor. Just to be safe, I'd say it's around 320 bucks. That's if you do it yourself for just the parts. The conversion, the Spider conversion kit for this truck, which is the 2 headlights, the lower running lights, 3 brake lights if you include the cab, the 3rd brake light, that was about $1,000 bucks. And like I said, they came with incandescent bulbs, so probably to do this whole entire conversion with the Spider product and the extra LED bulbs, you're probably around 1,500, 1,600 bucks. Maybe a hair more. Alright, apparently I'm horrible at soldering, but you can see that on the video. So I'm gonna let that cool down. I'm gonna electric tape that up and we'll see where we're at. Okay, I'm gonna fire it up. That's gonna be the real test. So the problem was those little quick connects. They weren't connected good enough. So pretty simple to put it back together. 3 bolts, pop your wheel well liner cap cover back in, and then make sure you get back behind here and make sure none of your wires are touching your resistors because they do get hot. Hope this helps. Pick this up, but a little humming if you can hear it, and I'll review the footage, is the fan of that LED. So other than the parts, all you really need is a cheap socket set or an expensive one, it doesn't matter. Some electrical solder, some electric tape. I used a razor blade and this little tent like bungee to hold my headlight. A magnet, which I think helps for the bolt in the wheel liner there. 10mm socket and a T27 a soldering gun, and you should be good to go. Alright, this concludes this video. Got the fleet all cleaned up. We're waiting Wednesday. We get some inlets and outlets for the BMW, so I'm gonna make a video on that. LED conversion, 2007 Dodge Ram with Spider headlights. Pretty simple stuff. I just ended up having a few issues with a bad factory plug, and then not having the great connections there for the bulb. So soldered those up, replaced that plug, kind of talked briefly about the cost. Everything should be good to go now, and yeah, another one down. I'm gonna put a new headlight bulb in my work truck and we should be calling it a day today.